We have a quorum.
Mayor Baggett.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Fontenot.
Present.
Ms. Allen.
Here.
Mr. Dean.
Here.
Mr. Rozell.
Here.
Mr. Shealy. Robert Davis. Mr. Chief Easterling.
Here.
And Mr. Ware.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I've asked Mr. Strube to offer our invocation and Mr. Ware to stand with.
Let's pray. Lord God, we're grateful to be able to be here today. We just thank you for the opportunity to live in a community that really cares about itself and the betterment of the community. Thank you for these council members who have donated their time to serve in this capacity, and just pray for your blessing on the meeting, that everything will be done according to your will. Give us all wisdom in decisions that are made here today. Give you thanks and praise you for being always and forever our great provider. Pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Everybody silence their phones, please. Point of order, Mrs. Gonzalez is filming us again this morning. Let's see, I'm not gonna go through a bunch of, things that are going on in the community. Grab a calendar if you want to. Do you have anybody sign up that wanted to speak? Excuse me, I've not had the recommended quota of caffeine. We have no one who wants to speak, so we will have no public comments. So we're gonna go straight into the first agenda item is, we approved fireworks for the school to do on homecoming and the night of the community bonfire, which is gonna be on the 8th of October, homecoming is the 10th, and then senior night is the 31st. They're also requesting permission to have a bonfire. It's by the bus barn. They're gathering stuff for the bonfire, and they want to do a bonfire then, and on homecoming pep rally, and then on senior night on October 31st. I've talked with the fire department. They will be there, monitoring everything. Also, they all know that this hinges on whether we are under a burn ban or not. But my request is to allow the school to have a bonfire on October 8th at their homecoming pep rally. And on senior night, October 31st.
24 on the October.
Yeah, on the agenda it says 2024, so.
Oh, well, that was last year. So,
So is that the correct date?
October 8th.
It is the right date.
and the date is right, yes.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
We
That's
also,
this week.
this year,
Well, next week, that's next week.
next week, yes. Big week. Lots of stuff going on. So, if I can have a motion, please. Any more questions? I'm sorry. Probably so.
I know where they can come get them.
Get in touch with the fire department. So,
I'll
Fire
make the
department.
motion. I'll make the motion to allow the high school to have their two bonfires for
in capacities, the things that PCQ looks at, they look at your raw water supply, at your wells. They look at your total storage, which is your ground storage as well as your elevated storage combined. Then they look at your high service pumping capacity, and then they look at just the elevated, by itself. And they have, criteria for each of those categories, to evaluate. So I put together this little spreadsheet or table for you so you can see what your total available are and what the required calculated capacity is, and then whether or not you have a surplus and deficiency in each of the categories. So we'll go from left to right, start with the raw water supply. You got 3 wells and their total current pumping capacity is 475 gallons per minute. The customer served at the very top is 849, and that's the part of the discussion with TCEQ is the number they used in theirs is 921, which, where they got the 921 is up for debate. They generally get it from the operator. It could have been a carryover from the last time. Who knows where the 921 came from? The city's record.
Came from the Leslie, or just the Lady Cocker inventory. And they're including every tab that we have, if there's a
Whether
tab.
there's a meter there or not.
Yes, it doesn't matter if there's a meter there or not, if there's a tap there, it's counted.
But the city went back through their records, and you came up with something around the 849 as the number of meters that you had installed, whether it was used or not.
Right.
So that's the number we use. We can use the 921. It doesn't make a big difference in the answer. You still have the same exact problem whether you use 921 or 849. It's just the magnitude of it. But anyway, so in water supply, you have the 475 with the 3 wells. The required capacity calculated with the 849 is 509, so you're deficient 34 gallons per minute, and that's the real issue. The total storage, we have the 2 elevated tanks, and then we have ground tanks at plant 1 and plant 2 for 388,000. That's actually not correct, because it's missing one of them. It didn't add up correctly. One of them must be wrong. Anyhow, it has, 388 plus 50, so it would be a little over 400,000, so the surplus of 218, it would be something of the magnitude of 260. Maybe you got 50,000 left off there. High service pumping, we had 500 GPM pumps, it's 2,500 gallons per minute, required capacity. They require 2 GPM per connection in high service pumping, or you have a little footnote down there. Once you get to 1,000 GPM, the 2 GPM per connection doesn't count anymore as long as you're able to meet your, demands. So you really only have to have 1,000, but you got 2,500, which exceeds the required capacity of 1698, so you're pretty good there. Elevated tank, you got 250,000 gallons, 2 tanks. Required capacity is 100 gallons per connection, or 84,900. Use the 921 connections, it'd be 92,000, but, your surplus is 165,000, you got plenty of elevated storage. So the real problem is the deficiency in the well supply. And so what's the possibilities for how we resolve that? I put a couple of notes down there at the bottom. The TCQ has a website you can go to and see your historical capacity as well as the current capacity. Every time they come out and do an inspection, they run the wells individually and record it, and that's what's currently shown there. So what you had for existing capacity was 80, 121, 120, and 275 gallons per minute, but the rated capacity for each of those wells is 100, 160, and 350. So you go from 475 up to 610 if they were pumping the rated capacity. You know, rated capacity in the well is, when it was originally drilled, that's the pump that was put in there at that time. The pumps over time have wear, they pump a certain amount of sand, natural not that the well's not producing that amount of water, it's the actual pump itself. You know, the capacity that comes out of the well is what the pump can do. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the well itself. So this reduction in capacity, most likely is from the mechanical decline of the pumps themselves. So I don't know how long it's been since you had a well pump replaced.
When we put the submersible?
I believe it was 7 years ago.
7. The new one will come.
So generally, when you replace a well pump, you check the well out, you know, because the yield of the aquifer is probably still there, but it's all dependent upon the water table levels. And the water table levels fluctuate seasonally with the amount of rainfall that we get and demand from other entities throughout Austin, being pumped in the region, et cetera, all plays into that. So anytime you replace one, and you always, you know, give a conservative, I try to always have at least 50 feet of water above the pump during its pumping condition, so that you've got room for that seasonal variance, because the seasonal variance as well as here in Texas, you know, it can change 20, 30 feet between seasons. Anyhow, so all that goes into play, but that is a possibility that you take a look at your existing pumps and see, can we replace one of them or all three of them? You know, and pump replacement, of course, it depends on the horsepower, size of the pump, et cetera. But those are typically going to be something of the magnitude of, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 to have one toilet pump and replace it. Today's dollars. So, that's a possibility. Drilling another well, wells right now of this size and magnitude, it's easily a $500,000 deal. We could, we could, West Greg Special Utility District, you know, the low bid was close to $600,000 for this size well.
How deep they go?
Over there, they're probably in the 700-800 foot, range. Another member of my staff did that project, so I don't know it off the top of my head, but I do know over in that area. I have done wells in that area before and, for them, and, there's, is, most of the career of the well cost is in this part of, areas. We go west, you know, they get down to 700-800 feet deep. As you go east, they get up 500-600 feet deep. Bigger wells right now, you know, we're doing one for Fountain Water Supply, which is just over in Wood County. And, theirs is a little over $1 million for a 600 gallon well. And it was in that 800 foot range. You know, the well drillers are just, it's just they're contractors. You know, in my example, I like to give is, a couple of years ago, I had a rural water system that had 2 wells that are of this, they were 200 gallon a minute, 700 feet deep. And I had 11 well drillers bid the project. The low bidder, and I bid them both together, the low bidder was a little under $800,000, $780,000 for 2 wells, roughly $400,000 apiece. The other 10 well drillers varied from $1.5 to $2.5 million. And the low guy made money on the job, you know.
Oh, no doubt.
$800,000 over that.
Can we hire an oil driller?
You know, it's just, you know, it's a you know, contractors want to bid as much as they can and still get the job.
You know, when they're doing it for a city or a water supply, they know you gotta have it.
They know you gotta have it, and they, you know, they, you know, play the game. If they have way too much work, which has been the case with, American Recovery Funds that every city and county in the United States got $1 million, $2 million, whatever, and there's been a big demand as we're growing for water wells in this region. And there's just way more work than there are contractors. And so the price just goes up, and it doesn't stop. They just throw a number at it, and see if it sticks.
So can we, can you explain again, what's the difference between the, TCEQ saying we have 921 connections and we're saying we have 849? That's 70 connections. Is there an explanation for that?
Yes, so we previously recorded our connections as people who had meters on taps, whether the water service was active or not. TCEQ is counting every tap the city has in existence. And we have that many taps out there. Some are abandoned properties, some are properties that haven't had water service for 15 years. Nevertheless, they have a tap.
So
Not a meter.
Yeah, so if they have the
Yes,
tap.
it's always available.
According to
Okay, so
TCEQ.
what you're saying is that if they had a tap and at one point, they're not having water service anymore, you've taken the meter away, so that's part of the setting that we're talking about. So then you go back to the 849, and the 849 absolutely represents people who have active water bills right now?
No.
It's just water meters.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Just,
so,
we know
but
there's a
here,
tap
here where I'm going.
underground.
So how many of those 849 water meters, how many of those water meters are on abandoned property, or property that's?
70 to 75 probably.
Yeah,
When you run that thing.
so then you go to another layer here where there's people like myself, I'll go on the record saying it, who's asked for a meter for a valid piece of property that I have, that I want to develop, and I'm being held back. So what that represents is, let's just say, I want to put a house on that piece of property to grow the city, I can't do that.
Well, it's up to the
So we're-
council.
It's up
But
to,
you
yeah,
see-
that's what,
yeah.
that's the discussion.
Yeah,
is-
but I mean, this is a very valid discussion, because right now what you've done is you basically shut down your city.
Well,
You're close to it, is what you've done, yeah. Well, it's nobody's fault, but that's where we're at. So should we get lucky enough to land, let's say we land at a Costco on that empty property out there, a Costco distribution center. And now you're gonna bring a big business into here, which is gonna make people wanna move here. You're gonna tell them no because we can't give you a water meter?
you mean you're gonna tell them?
Oh, I'm not gonna tell them. He's gonna
Well,
tell
it's
them.
up to the council.
I would never tell you to do that.
We'll be drilling a well.
But you just said, I mean, I don't wanna take from anybody.
That
I mean,
Visa card.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul doesn't solve a problem.
Yeah.
But this is very,
Stan,
and I don't want to look like I'm fighting for myself, I'm just saying this is a
But no,
problem.
but
Yeah.
just recounting what we have is just a Band-Aid.
yes.
Yeah,
But we need a positive, definite solution, because we are going to grow one way or the other.
Right, so I would never advise you to stop connecting connections. I mean, that's your purpose in being here, and that's why you have water. You're a public water system, you need to provide the capacity for
Right.
whatever growth you have, okay, so.
but we don't want to wake up one morning and not have enough water in our
We
houses.
just need to evaluate what are our options or strategies for addressing the issue, that's why I'm here today, is to discuss. We just talked about capacity, we're gonna fix to talk about what our options are.
Yeah, well, and this is just me, because I know of the situation out at the business park, okay? Where we had a pump station there to supply fire water. If we were to drill a well at that location, would that take care of two problems? Supplying them with fire water and supplying us with the water that we would need possibly?
Well, the problem with the fire pump system, of course, it caught on fire and damaged.
Right? Well, the reason we have it there was because there wasn't enough pressure out there to do it, right?
Correct. I mean, you needed it for their purpose.
Right.
And that's a very common problem for all cities. I mean,
Right.
even your bigger cities, industries that come in and need a fire pump system, a lot of times it is still required.
Yeah.
Even though the city may have all kinds of water and storage pumps, it's the reliability, the dependability, the insurance carriers, underwriters, they want, a dual fail-proof system, so that's why you have the diesel powered pump. It's not relying on the electrical grid to supply water, because power grids go down, so it's self-sufficient. That would have to be, it wouldn't just be putting a well there. You
Might
would
be a
have to-
water tower also.
You'd have to fix the pump station, which, that would be expensive, and it doesn't, it would have to not only be fixed to serve the firefighting purpose. Really, the firefighting system is separate from the potable water that you would use for the city, because of the different pumping conditions, and again, the reliability. The diesel powered pump would be dedicated to the fire protection, but then you
Right.
would have to have regular pumps.
So you still need.
Yeah, so the thing you would gain is you have a ground storage tank there.
Exactly.
And you could utilize it.
Yeah. What is that, 50,000 gallons there?
But now, so that's,
So could a possible solution be to get bigger tanks? Storage
tanks is not the problem.
That's not the
You gotta be able to pump it,
Capacity.
you gotta get it filled in.
You've
Fill
got
it, fill
plenty
it
of
in.
storage, so tanks is not the problem. Service pumps is not the problem, it's just simply supply. This is
Yeah.
getting the well water.
I think our newest tank is the one behind the football field. And you helped us with that, Stan, I think that was 8 or 9 years ago. And at that time, we needed more storage up there, and we could have gone with 50,000 gallons, but Stan actually advised us to go to 100,000, which we did. So we're really good on the storage side.
Yeah, it wasn't that much more at the time.
Yeah, and that's.
Truthfully.
It's very,
No.
in tanks, it's the diameter.
Right.
So 50,000 and 100,000, it's just a little more diameter to get twice as much water in there. It's just.
So,
I don't
we
think
had some
made-
vision with storage, it's just now we have a problem with pumping capacity.
So we just have to have the pumps looked at.
Well, that's one strategy is, okay, do we just simply replace our existing well pumps? See if we can put.
Do pumps have what average lifespan?
They old submersible well pumps, I've got some, been in 30 years, I mean, that's very common to go 30 years, but they, it's a.
Not like
impeller-
rated.
It's an impeller spinning, and if you have any sand, which you have a certain amount of sand that comes into your system from the aquifer, that sand wears on that impeller. So as it gets smaller, it doesn't pump as much, and so it just, over time, the capacity goes down just because it's not as efficient as it was when it was originally installed.
What kind of price tag on those pumps now, new?
Well, because the well drillers are charging so much for stuff, I suspect that these sizes we're talking about, that it'd be somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 to fully replace the pump.
Per pump.
Yeah.
Per pump.
Yeah, I got a question. Of course, the one up here is submersible. Like I said, it's only been there, about 7 years, something like that. But the one over behind Miss Baggett's house there is no pump, it's still, what if we were to take and go submersible on that one, like we change it like we did up here on the hill? I mean, it used to be up here on the hill, it wasn't submersible, we went with submersible because it was, best I remember, cheaper at the time.
Yeah, the submersibles are cheaper than the vertical.
Yeah, what if we did that on the one over on, the one there behind her house?
Yeah, but what you're talking about is the savings of the cost of the pump,
Right,
okay? And the pumps aren't that expensive, it's not the pump that's $50,000 to $100,000.
It's the real
labor.
It's the people that charge you.
Labor.
okay.
The pumps might be $5,000.
Because I remember when we did that one, it seemed like they did an inspection on the pipe going down in
They
there
did.
and all that kind of stuff, did the x-ray inspection, and I think did they come up with some kind of lining that they put in there, something to try to keep the sand out, or some of the sand out, when they did that, if I remember right, so.
Yeah, that's, you can't rework the wells and get some amount of capacity out. You don't know it until you get into it, and see what's going on with the well itself, not just the pump. You gotta analyze that, determine what
Is
pump
there
you put back in there.
anyone one location, Stan, that, in doing this analysis, that you would recommend that we look at first, or?
Well, it's obvious, well, one, 20 gallons per minute. Well, two, you lost 40 gallons a minute, and well, three, you lost 75 gallons a minute.
And well three is College Street, the one that we most recently replaced.
Now, there's two wells, where,
Down here.
two wells on, down behind Bates House? Okay.
And another well be drilled at College, in the same area, or would that be second off the Taco?
Well, the way wells work, when they come on and run, they have a cone of influence, so it sucks the water level down when it's pumping. You can drill one 20 feet away, okay? But it's pumping out of the same, if you're in the same zone, same aquifer, it's pumping out of the same zone. So if you have two of them side by side and you're sucking them down, they're gonna pump a lot less. So what you find is that the aquifer will only give up the 350. And so whether it's one pump, two pumps, four pumps, you're still, if you're right there beside one another, all you're gonna get's the 350.
That's what's happening at TNP, I guess, isn't it? And they're not as deep at TNP either.
Well, another way of looking at it is, you're not running out of water. You're not meeting the TCEQ requirement, okay? So let's talk about the TCEQ requirement. If they require 0.6 GPM per connection, that's their standard, okay? That's what you're failing to meet. Will you use something less than 0.2? A third of that. Because your well supply has to be sized for what we call max day conditions. So on the 4th of July, when everybody's having fun using water, washing cars, whatever they do on the 4th of July, you're using that max day, and your supply has to meet max day. Okay, because you need that water.
Why don't we just skip July 4th?
Well, because you've got Super Bowl, you've got Thanksgiving and Christmas in there too, so.
Super Bowl's cold.
So-
You don't need water, right? Just eat beer.
TCQ has a availability of what they call an ACR, it's an alternate capacity. And ACR is an acronym for it, and, what you do is take 3 years worth of historical data, and you find your max day for the previous 3 years, and you can, may require a 15%, factor thrown on it. So we take your worst day, max day, and get it, 15% above that, and divide it by the number of connections that occurred on that day, and you calculate a new, max day for your system. If you're not really growing, they allow cities that you're not growing, they allow you to, because we have a lot of small towns that have no growth, and so they're being required to meet this 0.6, and they're never above 0.3, even with their max day, so they allow them to reduce it, so that's what this is, and it's a simple process, and that's what the letter is that I prepared. That's the draft letter, that's everything that's required, what it says, you go through the little calculations that they do. You see, instead of 0.6, that you actually could get by with a 0.37, if they will allow it, which they should allow it. I mean, everyone I've ever done, they've allowed.
What are we pumping now?
Well, the worst you had, max day occurred on August 9th of 2023, 393,000 gallons. You had a lot of days that, I'd say a lot of days, there were multiple days that were in that 350 and up, in that range, it wasn't just like one day it occurred. We do go in and look at, the city has, when you had leaks, when you had circumstances that we can document, and they allow you to remove those days, but you had consistent what that does, and what I caution you about that is then you can apply for this, and you'll likely get it, and problem solved, you got a new requirement, you've now got plenty of capacity for the customers you have, and plenty to add more customers, and you're out of the, you know, the whirlwind of the TCEQ violation.
And fines.
But
It's abandoned.
I did have one client that did this, and then they, it's several years later, 4 or 5 years later, you know, you got a ornery customer that complained, and went to TCEQ, filed a complaint with TCEQ, and the first thing TCEQ does, they pull your ACR. Then you're further behind, which you're not growing by leaps and bounds, so it's not a big deal, but I would just caution that.
But it would get us about 3 years to our next inspection, where we could plan for drilling.
Yeah, that's what I think it would be safe to apply for the ACR, get the ACR, get it reduced, continue to add customers, we stop adding customers, right?
But then fix it in the meantime.
Well, in the meantime, you could look at your wells.
Our
you may-
options.
May look at the biggest one and then have well, you know, gotta pull it and look at it and see. Or we should probably review what they did 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Why did they not, you know, what did they put in? They may have put in the 275, you know.
Yeah.
That may be what they actually installed, because that's all it would do. So we really need to review what took place then to see what made them do whatever they did. And, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff, you know. just-
And then, is there, I'm assuming there's grants out there that we can apply for maybe drilling a new well?
There are certainly the usual funds that are out there, you know, TDA, the CDB, Community Development Block Grant Program, that we often use for cities, you know, they've upped the amount, it's now, you know, it was $250 for years, and then it went to $350, and then, went to $500,000, and now they're up to $750,000. But they also changed the way they do applications. Now, they invite you for an application. DDA selects the winners, okay? And they send out letters to the winners and say, now provide us an application. And then you have to come up with a project that meets their requirements, for income, et cetera. And,
Like a lottery?
it's not a lottery, they're picking on, they're not even consulting, you know, used to, everybody, you know, you applied, and they got to where they were saying, okay, they had this point system, and so every third cycle,
That's something.
you got your chance. But now, and we always had, $3 million a year or so in that fund. It comes from HUD down to and TDA just administers it. And when you were doing $300,000 projects, you know, you get 10 or 15 of them funded, and then they did it on a 2-year cycle, so you get twice as much funding. So we usually had, in the region here, we had, you know, 20 to 25 projects that were funded on a 2-year cycle. And so now, the money hadn't increased, but the amount per project has, and so instead of doing 25 of them, yeah, they cut it down to 10 or 12. And I've had multiple clients, 3 this year, that they invited, and then when the city submitted their project, well, they said, you know.
They may be inviting 25 and only picking 12. huh?
Well, that's what I think, you know, that's what they're doing, they're, and they won't let, you can't hire a grant consultant or an engineer to help you get started, and, you know, you have to, the city, they're forcing the city to be actively involved in selecting the project. Well, the city doesn't know for sure the income requirements and then if we help you, if you ask us to help, then we have prior knowledge of the project. And then we're not eligible to help you or get the contract because we have prior knowledge and it's unfair to our competition.
What's the match usually run on those?
5% for y'all. And you don't have to do a 750,000, and you can do a 100,000 if you want.
Well, if we did something like $500 million, you know, towards the water bill, that would be a good deal.
Well, if you get the opportunity, which you will, well, then you're gonna wanna go for the 750.
You always go down, you can't go up.
Yeah, you might as well shoot for the top.
And you will,
Fix everything.
Have leftover, you build a water tank.
well, yeah, there's things you can do, so,
In your spare time.
so, you know, my recommendation would probably be to go ahead and submit the ACR. We already have all the data, city's already pulled all the data together, I've already looked at the data, I've already got the letter ready, I just gotta sign it and submit it. And, you know, that gets you should get you out of the hot water.
Okay, question, say if we had somebody come in, wanting to put in a subdivision and got 20, 30 meters, are we gonna have to let them know of that? Or are we gonna have to just go on without business until they check us the next time?
Well, there's nothing about being in violation that prevents you from connecting meters.
I think what Rex is saying is if somebody asks for 50 meters at one time, after doing this, is that gonna bring up a red flag?
It has nothing, again, it has nothing to do with it, you can add
That's
1,000
what he's
meters if you
referring
want
to.
to, you're just gonna be in deeper trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've had people that have asked about water for possible subdivision, and that's just one of the
Yeah,
things.
again, I think the city wants to grow, would like to grow, and I
I
would.
don't think there's any doubt about that,
I would
anybody here, but
encourage development, and then the rest of it, you have to deal with what needs to be done. And I think you got time to get the ACR, it buys you a lot of time, and then you can start.
And what kind of, capacity do we have on our sewer station right now? I mean, do you know what capacity we're running at roughly?
I do not,
Okay.
not off the top of my head.
Okay.
We're doing good right now, but
Is your permit due?
it's coming up.
Yeah, a lot of people are due now, they're due in 6 months.
We've got a year,
Hmm?
we've got a year. We just got the first notice.
You have to submit them 6 months before they expire.
6 months.
So we have 6 months to put it together.
Right.
September, ours is due September 26th.
Yeah.
So we have to send it in 6 months before that?
Yeah, you have to send in 6 months before it expires. So, that would be my recommendation.
And we'll know more about the health of the.
We can take a look at your well stuff, in that well seven, we look at that sometime and see what they did, why they did it.
Yeah, I can get you that information soon, what we did on well three.
You remember who we used for that?
A1.
Yeah, there were Mineola somewhere, somewhere.
A little bit northeast of
Yeah,
Alabama.
I remember it, one, yeah.
I work with them daily.
Okay.
Just making sure on this, letter, in the calculations, none of it uses the, total that was incorrect. On the worksheet, right?
Oh, on the worksheet, that was total storage, I just left off that 50,000, prayer, my form, it didn't go up high enough.
Okay, just making sure that,
No, this was all on the supply side, which
okay,
is the first column.
okay.
No, I just said that, I added actually.
So Stan, what would it look like moving forward? Would would you be willing, if we retained you to help us with this review process on Wilson?
That ain't no big deal.
Okay,
Give me the, I'll look at it, and charge you for it,
okay.
it'll take me an hour to look at it.
I should be able to get to this, the history on
mind correcting.
They don't mind that.
They
Yeah.
don't
they
have a
will
problem
return,
with
they will
that.
return.
They don't.
They
I
get
can
back
tell
to you right away on that.
We did it with
They
Clark.
live for it.
I did it with Clarksville City, this is embarrassing, I did it with Clarksville City, and we submitted it, and then they sent it back, and it went up instead of down. Like, we asked.
Nothing to see here.
They already had an ACR, and we thought we were gonna lower it some more, and then they didn't.
So do we need to make a motion then?
That's-
Can I make that
was waiting on
motion?
Mr.
I was waiting for Mr. Rex to.
Yes,
to
get back.
reappear.
We do need a motion for.
I would like to make the motion that we go ahead and submit this letter to, TCEQ that Mr. Hayes has written. And with the hopes that we further move forward to fixing the problem within the next couple of years.
We have a motion to,
What did you say?
Dr. Fonda said, motion from Mr. Bean to, ask Mr. Hayes to submit this letter. And we have a second from Dr. Fontenot. Do we have any more questions?
No.
Discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
You bet.
We appreciate you. Okay, let's see, what is up next? After I have written all over everything here. Looks like we have Wildcat shoulder improvements. If anybody has been up close to the, city park, you know that we have a drop off, kinda like Grand Canyon up there, that's not only unsightly, but it's dangerous. And we have a recommendation bid from L&L Asphalt. Mr. Whaler?
Yes, they got back with us, and it's $12,325 for the shoulder improvements. And some of the drop-offs now are 6 to 8 inches, and it's probably gonna start damaging somebody's cars. But, what's helped too is the one-way, situation, that's helped a lot. We're tearing up the road there.
And we're also considering, the school has put in signs on their side of the street, no parking at any time. And they're about so tall, and they're like very close together, so you don't get an opportunity. And we're seriously considering doing that on our side also, on the park side also, not only to just keep it, once it's fixed, to keep it fixed, and to not clog up the street there. Cause you get folks parking on even one side, and it's difficult, so.
What's the reason behind only getting one bid?
Unfortunately, the last 3 years that we've gotten straight bids, the other two vendors, we've not awarded them any bids, and they're unwilling to come out and even price for us.
Plain meaning, something.
And on this job, we felt that it was imperative enough that we go ahead and present it to you with a single bid. Now, we're gonna try to find a few other.
Okay, so can I ask you, let me ask you a question this way then. How does this pricing compare to the pricing of another job you did? Per foot or whatever, did you do some math and figure out that?
They're not gonna do any asphalt here, right? They're just gonna put down, like crushed concrete or something?
Milling.
They're gonna put millings,
Millings.
asphalt millings.
Yeah, and taper it down.
Yeah.
I mean, so in other words, have you done due diligence to make sure that it didn't look, these guys pumped it up a little bit because they know there's no other money willing to bid against them?
They don't know that.
They don't know that.
We didn't tell them there was a lot of bid.
You don't really need to tell them, they kinda know in this industry.
Well, perhaps.
They talk.
What, for the 260 feet for 14, I think they have 14 feet there, but I think they mean 14 inches when I did the math.
Yeah.
But it's a very reasonable price, especially for such a small job. There's a lot of companies that won't even bid this because it's such a small job, and they did the original road work. So I feel better about them, coming in and extending it for us. And that's why we went ahead and brought it to y'all.
The school is going to be closed for the week of the Jamboree, and if the council does approve this today, I believe Ms. Rex is going to let them know that the school is gonna be closed that week, and it will be an optimum week for them to do their job. Cause I don't think it's gonna take them the whole week, so, but it would be nice, and it's
But
the,
we do plan to, like Ms. Baggett said, put up signs, because what we find is that people I guess it's just more convenient to pull over and let their kids run down the hill. But the fact is, we have a very nice parking lot, and people just aren't taking the time to pull. I mean, that parking lot is only filled on the Fourth of July, or a few other rare circumstances, so, you know, unfortunately,
It
we're
fills
just
up
gonna
more
have
than
to-
that, when they have the practice for the kids.
I'm sorry, ma'am, were you interrupting me?
What you're saying is.
I can't hear you.
The parking lot does get filled more than that, when they have the practice for the kids.
I
At the
wasn't
field.
done speaking, but go ahead.
So it is filled more than that, there are quite often times that that parking lot is full, and much more often than, Fourth of
And
July.
it's good, that's what it's there
So,
for.
yeah.
So the millings, they're gonna do 260 feet proposed, and I know where it's at, 'cause I've gone off in that moving crater for years. But those millings, they're just gonna pour the loose millings without compacting or anything, 'cause that doesn't seem like it lasts long.
That's 14 feet wide.
No, inches.
14
I think
inches.
they miss.
Well,
14
if
feet wide.
they're not going 10 feet wide or so, it ain't gonna do much for us. I mean, how wide are they gonna go?
Well, we're not making a second lane, so we're just filling in the edge, so.
And it's just gonna go.
$12,000 just to fill in the edge.
What's that?
$12,000 just to put a little curved off the edge.
How about if I call David?
Yeah, cause I'm interested in that, because that's,
Maybe they're gonna cut some of the road,
if they're only gonna do it 14 inches wide, that's that's crazy.
Well, they'll have,
For the money, yes.
Well, if they're loose millings, how long is it gonna take for the truck?
Well, even
Well,
if
they'll
they pack,
compact
even
them.
if they pack them at a, then you just put it on over, you're gonna move it on over eventually. But,
Yes, ma'am, this is Laura calling with the city of City Chance Davis in the office this morning. I'm on the city council and meeting with the
That's
question
right, I'm
for
able.
president of every
They need those,
city.
you're not filling to the edge where.
they will,
But not too.
probably so, if
Okay.
they're only going 14 inches wide,
Mhm.
what happened to,
Okay, thank
They're gonna go
you.
60
they're gonna waste all the water.
Actually, if you reread it, it's furnish and install 6 to 8 inches of asphalt millings along the shoulder. This 260 by 14 feet is how he calculates how many square feet there would be of that. And then he's doing loam soil along the edge of the milling, 24 cubic yards. And replacing the existing shoulder that's.
So he's basically gonna pull it over, but not to the edge, but closer to the edge, as Rocky was saying. So it's not, the milling's not gonna go over to the edge, so the minute you step on the edge of the milling, it's gonna go down the hill. It's gonna go into this other dirt, that they're gonna lay there, and buffer of kicking it down the hill.
Well, if it's 14, yeah, if it's 14 feet wide, that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
No,
that's
that-
36.
David, this is Laura with CWC, how are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you, Laura?
Doing good. I've got you on speakerphone. We're in a city council meeting and we're talking about the project that you did on us for the shoulder improvements on Wildcat Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
I think Mr. Roselle has some questions for you.
Okay.
Okay, is that gonna be 14 feet wide along that 260 feet?
Yes, sir, I do believe that's correct. Should be 14 foot wide and then a taper out beside of it, kind of keep those millings as best we can in place.
Okay, now are y'all gonna be rolling over the millings once you put them in, or compacting them anyway?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, that'll be knocked in and compacted. And millings, you can compact them only so much. There's, depending on how fresh they are, they may bind together or they may not. It just depends on how fresh the millings are.
Okay,
Can't have oils or something.
yeah, all right. And is there anything you can put on those to help them, compact better?
Can't you put hot oil on it?
No, sir, not necessarily. If they're extremely dry, we'll water them in, but there's no asphalt rejuvenator, there's no seal, there's no asphalt that you can mix in to make them adhere. That's just, kind of the nature of the beast of asphalt millings.
Okay. All right,
Any other questions? take y'all with you to work, they
What
did
fresh
every work
concrete would be for something like this.
I'm guessing it would probably take just a couple of days to
Just
do
maybe
it,
longer.
because it would take just a little bit to kind of shake everything up and then foam and get them dumped in, and I don't believe there's that many loads that are going up there, so that should be able to, and get that hauled down in a day and dress everything up, and get out of y'all's way.
14 feet from the
Well,
edge.
we've got a week that the school's
Okay, I
gonna
can
be
live with
closed,
that.
the second full week of October, but anyway, I'll keep you posted, but thank you for taking my call, and I'll let you know if we have any other questions.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you so much, bye.
So really, in order for this to be successful, I mean, the key's gonna be putting those signs up so people don't start parking back over there, where they're getting out of their cars and they're constantly pounding on it as they get in and out and they take off. I mean, a guy like me with a big truck like I have, with the tires I have on my tire, it'll just chew that stuff up, no
Well,
time flat.
and our main thing here is if we get that over there and it gets compacted, then it will quit eroding our road,
Right.
which is the main feature of this, but that's why we
Right.
need to
It's
do
just
something.
eating underneath.
Yeah, but the signs would help too by not having anybody parking on it.
And the first time somebody pulls up there and falls off and tears something up, then they're gonna wanna sue us.
Put some kind
Yes.
of posts or signs real close to it so they can't.
I would just put them off to the side like the school has, and schools are, they haven't been squished yet.
Well, if we put no parking in front of their park.
You always
I
put
mean,
a
a
visual
physical,
art.
physical post every
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
yards that you couldn't drive off of.
Stephen,
Well, then you get into, if somebody gets it, if it's not a breakaway or yada, yada, go. you
well,
get-
just don't hit it.
I know, but that's,
Just down the road for a change.
Potentially, we'll be able to put it at the edge, just past the buildings, where it's putting alone, we should be able to. put it
We
in
just
there.
enforce
It-
no parking.
it
Right.
sounds
Yeah,
like-
you see what I'm saying, just something to encourage this, and not to.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make the motion then that we go ahead and, do this repair as required to make the street safe again.
We have a motion from Mr. Bean to accept the bid from L&L for them to do the repairs. Do we have a second? Second, from Dr. Fontenot. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Yeah, aye.
Any opposed? And Ms. Rex will let them know, and they can get ready.
L&L
Okay.
did, Scott didn't it? Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
good job.
they did.
Yeah, they did.
L&L did Lexington, Peachtree,
Well, don't tell us that I'll do Lexington, we're not too happy with what they did, but we'll go with it.
Well, those people up there on that one are always.
Yeah, they're pretty snotty
They're
people.
whiners.
Yeah, they wanted us to do concrete.
Yeah, I don't know why
With
we
rose
get
bushes
caught on the
behind
street.
it.
Rose bushes in the middle like Tyler. Okay, next on our agenda is Public Works Director, Mr. Ware, $200,000, 200,000 gallons, excuse me, water tank at Boulder, the inspection and the cleaning. Mr. Ware.
Yeah, the TC here requires us to have an annual inspection and cleaning of our tanks. And, when they were there, they noticed that 2 of the light bulbs were burned out on our aviation system. And, they had to replace it, and that put us over our limit. So I have to bring it to the council for $2,589 to replace, so.
You couldn't climb up there and put a light bulb in?
No.
Well, that answers my question, thank you, Mr. Ware. Okay, let's cover that bill.
On their way up the ladder, at the bottom of the tank, there was a wasp nest that was this big around. And the guy got stung several times, so by the time he got it knocked off, so he had a rough time.
He didn't charge us for that.
No, he didn't charge us.
I moved to cover the excess bill on the Boulder tank.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
We have a motion from Dr. Fontenot to
Don't take
approve
it yet.
$2,589 to take care of this invoice. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Second from Mr. Bean. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm taking a break.
Chief,
I'm taking a break. Aye. I know,
Okay.
I gotta look at this.
you can't vote on this till you get back.
Yes,
Here,
sir.
you got 3 of them.
You talk
I know what
for
I'm
a
saying,
while.
so.
No, there's really not much to talk about. Basically, We asked permission to apply for a grant a couple months back for, dropper resistant body armor, go on top of our regular bulletproof vest for basically active shooter situations and stuff like that. We got approved for the grant, so it's fully funded, meaning that the city will put out the $6,810 that is required up front, but we will get reimbursed the $6,810. So at the end of the day, we'll be out $0 for 5 complete sets. So, anytime because it's over the $2,500, I just gotta ask to spend the $6,810 that we're gonna get back.
We've talked.
I get it back. The legislature has been so
Whoa, whoa,
kind
whoa.
here of late.
Let's-
I'm sorry,
let's
go
not
ahead.
speak.
You had a question? I
I
do
do
too.
not have a question, I was gonna make a motion.
Well, the legislature, just a second, legislature has been very kind here recently to require all sorts of fun things for our police departments, and you'll be hearing about those at a later date. But, Chief is going to be well
Work most
protected.
of them out.
Huh?
They gotta work most of them out.
Yeah, but they're just so, wonderful about requiring these things.
Yeah, but I think everything that they required, I think,
He's
got it.
managed.
I think I got it all managed. The biggest thing is they're requiring under Senate Bill 33, which affects schools along with police departments, they're requiring shields, that we have them mandated, and, when we went for shields in the past, they required that we went to a certain set of companies, I'll put it that way. And when we went to these companies, it ground the price of the shields up quite a bit, which we didn't get denied on the grant, we got told that the funding was expended before they got to us. So it's not that our grant was bad, it was literally they spent the funds that they had allotted for it before they got to our application.
We were slow.
Well, we had the grant in 3 days after it opened, so.
We were just too far down the list.
Yeah.
I guess the B's were further than the A's, okay? But anyhow, so long story short, we didn't get that, but with that being said, because we do not have to meet those same guidelines of that grant's no good for us. The guidelines under Senate Bill 33 are open on what you need for a shield, so it opened our possibilities up and identified a cheaper vendor, which kept us under our budget price, so I don't have to come for approval. I can pick up the shield and the equipment that I need for right at $1,700 versus, $10,000 that they're looking on the grant side. So, we have that process in motion, just waiting to get my actual quote back from the company, so we can move forward with it, but I don't have to talk to you all about that, obviously, I explained it to you, anyhow. So all I'm asking for today is just to spend the 68 cans that we will get reimbursed, and that will cover 5 dropper resistant front, back, side panels, vest, and, one size carrier, so the carriers will just fit anybody that they need.
Go ahead, Sally.
Like 5,
Yes.
but they counted as 10, because they're counting front and back.
Yes, yeah, back, and then 2 sides, so.
I make a motion that we,
I thought we had the side. Well, front and back, isn't it? Sorry.
Front,
when
back.
it says 10 on the quantity.
Yeah, front, back.
What about your head?
No, we don't have helmets. Bob and weave.
With those shields, you're supposed to be like a turtle, be able to duck your head in there.
Exactly, they have a viewport, see?
Yeah. You just pull your head down.
Yeah.
With bulletproof glass.
Okay, is that?
Okay, I make a motion that we, approve the $6,810 for them to, the police department to purchase, and which will be reimbursed by the grant.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Allen to accept this bid and, pay for this up front, and we will be reimbursed, and Dr. Fontenot second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, let's see. Ms. Rex, ordinance adopting utility rates, water, wastewater, and sanitation, going into effect tomorrow.
So I put in y'all's packets the most recent, utility rate adjustments that we've made. And then, of course, at the last meeting, we made a motion to tentatively increase our base rate by $1, for our inside city so that's gonna go from 21 to 22 for both water and wastewater. It means $1.50 increase for our customers that are outside the city limits. But, anyway, so for each utility customer, if you pay your bill on time, it's a monthly increase of $2, no matter how much you use. And then it'll be, $3 if you live outside city limits. But, anyway, excuse me, did y'all have any questions? I mean, I just added exactly what our motion was from the meeting on the 16th. So right now, our minimum bill is 67, if you pay both fire fees, and that will go to 69. For inside city.
I'll make a motion to approve the new rates as, presented here. For the water bill.
We have a motion from Mr. Bean to approve rates as presented, and a second from Mr. Rozell. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank
Just so
you,
you
Ms.
guys
Rex.
know, that'll go into effect tomorrow, and you'll see that rate change on the bills that you receive around November 1st, so FYI.
Next item is Ms. Rex, resolution amending 24-25 budget.
Yeah,
Should that
so,
be? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, we have talked about this a little bit, but I have some final numbers as of this morning. Because of the volunteer fire department's need to purchase radios that they were not anticipating, we're gonna need to increase their total budget from 76,000. And if you go to page 2 of the budget, it's the stuff in red that's the changes right here. We can start with sanitation, which is at the very top of the page. We do have more expenditures for sanitation and revenue, and, it's because of Circle M, and it's okay. They've had more dumpsters than usual, enough so that it actually exceeded our budget, what we had planned to spend. So we're increasing sanitation by $20,000, and then, there's no need to transfer any money in or anything like that, because that's literally, they're paying for what they're getting. It's just exceeded what we anticipated. And then the volunteer fire department is just the $30,000 for their radios, which they did take out of existing money in their bank account, so it's considered a transfer in, but. So it's increasing our total budget from $2,319,500, which is originally what we approved last September, to $2,369,500, which is just a total of $50,000 increase. And that's what the resolution says.
For the transfers. So we're just counting the transfers on the budget now.
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this change in budget.
I make the motion to accept the changes in budget.
Ms. Allen? Motion to change the budget. Any second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Bean, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you much.
Did we skip number 7?
I'm sorry,
Did we skip number 7?
Yes.
Rental
did I
rates?
skip number 7?
Yes, you
Yes.
did.
I did skip number 7. All right, let's go back to.
And I think it's in your packet, but maybe
I don't think
not.
it is in the packet.
Okay, well,
Ah.
it's
I thought we
online.
talked about this last week.
Community, okay, here we
couple weeks
go.
ago.
Well, we made the motion to
'Cause I think I threw a number out there.
create the ordinance, and this is just literally, but it is, and I'm sorry, you guys, I realize not all of y'all have your iPads, but it is out there, but our rental rate right now for 8 hours is $80, and the ordinance just states that that's going to $100 even. And then you can rent it for more than 8 hours for $15 an hour. We left that the same price, the deposit the same price, but the ordinance just states that we're increasing that fee by $20, which was what the motion was at the meeting on the 16th.
Make a motion to accept.
Yes, ma'am. That we approve this ordinance as written with the increase. Did you make the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Allen to increase the fees on the community center by $20, making it $100 for 8 hours. And the $15 an hour after that stays the same, and we have a second from Dr. Fontenot. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, let's see. Election contract.
Yes. They've added a lot of language to the election contract, but in reading through it, I think it's just they're trying to make it more clear that this is actually primarily a county election with constitutional issues on it. So we're not able to have early voting locally. Early voting will only be in Gilmer, and we'll be posting all those dates and times. But, basically, it's our agreement with them that they're gonna conduct our special election for the street maintenance tax.
Maybe to accept the resolution approving joint election contract for the county for the November 2025.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dr. Fontenot to accept this joint election agreement and a second by Ms. Allen. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And one more thing before I forget, you guys, if you keep this packet on the very last page, it does have the hours for early voting, but we'll have that on Facebook too, so that people, if they want to early vote, but we will have voting here on election day, Tuesday. So, in November, sorry.
That'll be at City Hall.
No, it'll be at the
Civic
city
Center.
center.
They're taking
Yes,
care of
sir.
everything now.
All right, this ends the agenda anyway. Do we have anything else from council?
Very nice, we got so much more done because Sally was here today.
I'm sorry. I've got a plot number, Sally here. do you?
Yeah, Sally came, because Sally.
All right, do I hear a motion to
To
adjourn?
adjourn. Did.
That's,
You did.
I did, okay, do I have a second?
I seconded it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. We wanna talk about it or do it?
No.
Just do it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for coming out so early in the morning.
Thank you for having us.
Safe travels.